Welcome, folks, to another edition of Amped Up with Cliff Schechter and David Schuster.
Hello, Cliff.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. The way you just suddenly said Cliff, I was like, I thought that you couldn't hear me or something. I'm Cliff Schechter. That's David Schuster. He's the guy with the Emmy. I'm just
Hey,
some
Cliff,
guy
we have
hanging
some
out
breaking news. We have some breaking news as we come on the air, actually. Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general, he has been at his confirmation hearing. And there's some news now that Senator John Cornyn, a Republican, Senator Tom Tillis, Republican from North Carolina, Cornyn from Texas, they are now saying they may not vote for.
Gee, what do they have in common? I can't think what they have in common. Those two
And
guys. How about Cassidy?
Yeah, the other thing that came out of the hearing today, which was hilarious, is at one point under questioning from Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, are you friends? And Todd Blanche says, well, I am his lawyer. I was his lawyer. I am like it was like the epic.
I don't know what I am. Am I the DOJ's lawyer? Am I his lawyer? I'm both. I'm neither.
One of the most classic Freudian slips we've ever seen. So in any case, the interesting stuff with Todd Blanche, and also some, remarkable developments overseas right now with how Ukraine is doing in the war against Russia and how much ground they're gaining.
You wrote a fantastic piece on Putin's shrinking status in Russia, that he's now got 800 guards because 799 clearly wasn't enough to keep his little obnoxious arse alive. And so he's more paranoid. Russian people maybe have some hope in, like, it's amazing, and would be just the sort of historical irony that the fact that Russia has been obsessed with Ukraine for the better part of many centuries and taking away their identity and controlling it as part of Russia, whether it was Soviets or Tsars or Putin, could be their undoing. But that's the way it seems. And luckily, we have somebody here smarter even than you, and you won an Emmy. Sorry, David, I know.
I have not served in the U.S. military. I have not run an organization myself. I have not written for The Atlantic. But Ken Harbaugh has.
He has. But you also have never been in a monster truck where you got out after you broke your nose, gave the crowd one of these, and made me want to vote for you so badly. You're Ken Harbaugh back in, I think it was 2018, was like my Wyatt Earp. Okay. So there you go.
Hey, Ken,
Ken, I know you're a modest guy, but you were awesome.
Great to be here. I don't know how to I don't know how to respond to that, but thanks for having me on.
Sure.
So Ken, you wrote this amazing piece in The Atlantic, and the thing that sort of jumped in, and I was trying to figure out whether the term is honeypot or catfishing, whatever it is, but you wrote this piece about how there are Ukrainian women. One of the the amazing secrets of the war, and there are many on the Ukrainian side, is that women who would pretend to be really interested in Russian soldiers and develop this relationship with them, and then ask for pictures, and then find information in the pictures like maps as to where these Russian soldiers were. And then instead of delivering, I don't know, sex, they would deliver a drone on top of the.
They would deliver a fiery death, is what they would deliver instead.
Yes. How did you get this story? How did you find this story?
Great question. And I think the first thing that has to be said is that the Ukrainians want this story being told, and they want it being told now. And when I first started digging into it, that was the first thing I would ask everybody. Why are you talking to me? Why are you taking the risk? I mean, of all the jobs in the Ukrainian military right now, it is these agents behind enemy lines who are probably taking the biggest risks. And,
Sure.
I'm putting them right up there with the drone hunting crews that I've patrolled the highway of death with, or the suicide drone crews I've been in trenches with in Kherson. But these agents behind enemy lines, most of them women at this point, and I can explain why in a second, but they're taking extraordinary risks to help liberate the occupied areas of Ukraine. But they want the world to begin to know what they are doing for a couple of reasons. The main one is that they want the Russian occupier afraid. And I think Sestra, that's her code name, she's an agent inside occupied Mariupol, said it best when she told me that she wants every Russian soldier walking down the street to look at that old woman coming back from the market with shopping bags in her hand. She wants him to look at the baker that he gets bread from, at the bus driver, as a potential link in a kill chain to take him out. Because if you study resistance movements throughout history, that's when occupations begin to break, when they are just riven through with such a degree of paranoia that they can no longer operate normally. The second reason they, I think, wanted this story in The Atlantic is that they are trying to counter a narrative in the West and in the US in particular that somehow land can be surrendered for peace. When Ukrainians hear that, their response is automatic. They're like, that's not peace. Look at Mariupol. Look at what happened in Bucha. We're not just talking about land, we're talking about people. And we want Americans to know that we are fighting for our whole country, not just the parts you see on TV. We are fighting for every inch of it, because if we surrender anywhere, you're going to see Buchas everywhere.
Right. Well, so in other words, what you're saying, if I'm getting this right, it's kind of like that scene from Red Dawn, right? Like they got it from that, where like, the guys go in the store, they sneak in, they blow everything up. I'm being ridiculous, but it was, I was going to make a fun Red Dawn comparison, but this is actual real life. And what
Wolverines,
I was going to
right?
say, what the
Wasn't it?
Wolverines were able to
Right.
accomplish. I can't help it. I'm an 80s kid. I apologize. But again, it's like, this reminds me in seriousness of the drones in the back of the trucks, in the just the inventiveness, the creativity, the brilliance with which they outmaneuver Putin and his gang is incredible, with much fewer resources at their disposal. And I mean, at least what I've been reading, like there's talk of like, of taking back serious amounts of land now. There's talk of Crimea, and there's talk, it's and I admit, 1/4 of me, 100 plus years ago, left Odessa to come to this country. So part of my heart is there, and I'm so happy that I was concerned, and it's incredible. I don't know what else to say except for continue to tell us more awesome stories, because
Their innovative spirit it's just something to behold. And I love Odessa. I screened drone hunters of Kherson in Odessa just a month or so ago. And Odessites are tough people. And of course, Odessites would be the ones to stop the Russian advance, to try to connect to disconnected parts of Russia's empire. But when you're talking about Ukraine taking back territory, the crown jewel is Crimea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen with Ukrainian Marines landing on the shores of Crimea. That's going to happen with this slow stranglehold that they are tightening around the supply routes into Crimea, especially the M14 highway, which I have driven on. And you are beginning to see in your social media feeds, now in the mainstream press, this campaign of strikes against these Russian military supply vehicles that are supporting the garrison, supporting the occupation inside Crimea. Those strikes that we're looking at and so impressed by in our social media feeds, that's just the last link in a very long kill chain that starts with these resistance fighters and these agents behind enemy lines, developing that intelligence and providing those coordinates. And their story is almost never told, but being given the opportunity to tell it was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. The trust that they placed in me to tell this story responsibly, and to make sure I only put on the page what isn't going to get people killed, but do it in a way that's compelling. I hope I get to write a story like this again some point in my life.
Regarding Crimea, the latest is that the only way in and out now is the Kerch Bridge.
By design, the Ukrainians have left it open, and they kind of smirk whenever they say it. They've given the Russians one artery in and out of Crimea, but they are emphasizing that it is an artery out of Crimea. They want as many people to be able to leave as possible, and they can take down the bridge at this point anytime they want. But if you're a Russian truck driver on the M14 highway right now trying to get a supply of artillery shells or explosives for FPV drones into Crimea, good luck. Good luck, because you have to run the gauntlet of the Ukrainian Middle Strike campaign, being fed by the warrior witches of Ukraine, these female agents behind enemy lines, developing that intel. And there's a good chance you're not going to make it. You're certainly not going to make it 2 or 3 times.
That's incredible. And, so Crimea is the crown jewel. Where are there other spots where they are moving forward, where they're aggressively taking back land? I don't know all the sort of the map of where
they are setting the conditions
in place. Go ahead.
They are setting they are setting the conditions. I mean, a major offensive isn't in the cards anytime soon, but that's, amateurs talk tactics, experts talk logistics. And the Ukrainians are choking off Russian logistics. Mariupol is another example where the resistance is alive and well and developing these target packages for the Ukrainian drone operators on a daily basis. But one of the most fascinating things about how this resistance operates, because it's such a departure from your usual image of a resistance movement. I think most people imagine the French resistance in World War II.
I think that's the one that comes to your mind. Yeah.
After they blow up a Nazi tank or something, they all
just took them down. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette.
And they smoke cigarettes and they drink wine together. The resistance in the occupied territories of Ukraine is very, very different. It's no longer kinetic because it's an intel operation. They are, and this is how warfare has evolved. In the early days, it used to be kinetic. They used to do, assassination operations, bombings, things like that. But it is just so much more efficient now to let the drones do the wet work and have the agents develop the intel. Right. It's also incredibly, incredibly lonely. Again, Sestra, the agent in occupied Mariupol, told me that you cannot reveal under interrogation what you do not know. And so they have reached, I guess, the logical minimum of a resistance cell size.
I should say, right, cells where
it's down to one. It's down to one person. You don't know what anyone else is doing. You might not even know in your own apartment complex there are 3 other agents, but for the fact that Russians are dying all around you. And their only contact is via encrypted app with their handler in free Ukraine, who is taking those coordinates, vetting them, delivering them to the military that is then launching these strikes.
Ken, are they getting feedback, though, to know that they're being successful? In other words, I mean, you're passing along information and then you wonder sort of, gee, what happens to it? Are they hearing the news themselves that, yeah, this honeypot catfishing thing was successful? We just took out this facility, or we just took out this tent, or...
The feedback is pretty immediate and it's pretty real. I heard another account, and I was allowed to share this. It just didn't make it in the article, so I'm not betraying any confidence here. But in one case, a source was being worked online. The intel was being delivered to the military. It was a high-value target, and the decision loop was like a matter of minutes. And they actually took out the target while that target was texting with the agent. So, I mean, that's pretty direct feedback. And it's hard to say most, but many of the targets that they are developing are in their neighborhoods, are in their communities. It's an ammo dump in an old warehouse in the village outside of Kherson. They're going to know when that thing is hit. In the case of the Chechen commander that I opened the story with, they absolutely knew his barracks was hit because it was nearby. It was a barracks that was identified in a picture that the Chechen commander himself sent to someone he thought he was flirting with, the 35-year-old housewife who turned out to be some middle-aged dude in the Ukrainian intelligence services.
So not quite what he thought. It wasn't like one of those 1-900 numbers, right?
I just imagine the conversation clips going something like, "Are you big man?" "Yes, I'm big man." "Not anymore."
Yeah, you have to say right before you blow them up. You have to let them know, of course. It's like, I was going to come visit you, but now I don't think I'll be able to find all your parts, kind of thing. I don't know. In any case, I love it, and I'm not. I guess I've got gallows humor. I can't help it. But you know what? Like what these sons of bitches have done. I mean, I think
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about why?
Yeah.
I mean, you teed it up.
To talk about that. I just want to say one thing, which I just try to remind people of all the time, which is, we talk about the war in Ukraine like it started a couple of years ago. It started a decade plus ago when they went into Crimea is when it started, and people should talk about it that way. So go ahead.
Well, and the Ukrainians have a historical memory that goes way beyond that, to the Holodomor and the forced collectivization, millions of Ukrainians dead at the hands of the Soviets. There is a reason why today women have become the backbone of the Ukrainian resistance. I mean, there's the superficial reason in that they're very good at what they do. They also have positions in the Russian civil administration, which they're using in some really creative ways. My favorite is their infiltration of these aid groups. They want this known as well, going back to this idea of sowing paranoia. Like in other militaries, like even in the American military, there are these military affinity groups that put together care packages and then deliver them to frontline units to cheer their spirits. That ain't happening anymore because the Ukrainian resistance has infiltrated these groups. And what better intelligence than actually delivering care packages to the frontline unit at their coordinates and relaying those coordinates to the Ukrainian military. Women have a special ability to be able to pull this off. They're very good at the work, but they also have a very good reason to want to Russians out. And I mean, this gets a little bit dark, and I'll sanitize just a bit for the sake of the audience, like legit trigger warning if you want to check out for a couple of minutes. But the way women have been treated at the hands of the Russian occupiers is almost beyond description, including girls. I spoke to the head of the women's clinic at the main hospital in Kyiv, which has treated a steady stream of sexual assault survivors from the occupied territories since the full-scale invasion, years worth. The age range of these survivors is 4 to 75 years old, 4 years old to 75 years old. I interviewed a girl my daughter's age, my youngest daughter's age. She was 13 when I spoke to her. She was 11 when the Russians came to her village and occupied it. And before our conversation started, she apologized to me for her stutter and said, I'm sorry, I did not used to have this problem until the Russians took me to the basement. And that's a Ukrainian euphemism for torture. So when people wonder why the Ukrainian women have this this thirst for Russian blood, it's because they've earned it. They have very good reason. And there was one more vignette, and I think this drives the point home. I was speaking to a Ukrainian female parliamentarian who travels a lot to the West, spends a lot of time in the U.S., where she is sometimes asked by skeptical Americans, what happens when Ukraine runs out of men? And her response was, be careful what you wish for. If Ukraine runs out of men, our women will be in charge. And
they get tougher is what happens.
Alive.
Yeah.
Right.
There's such a bravery, I guess, as exemplified by Zelensky. But my understanding is that this sort of level of bravery and courage is really sort of is literally in their DNA. I wonder if you can explain that.
So the Ukrainian term for these operatives behind enemy lines, these women who operate in the shadows, is vidma. And there isn't a perfect translation into English, but the closest I could come up with was witch. That's why the piece is titled "The Warrior Witches of Ukraine's Resistance." But in Ukraine,
also solid alliteration. Come on,
that's pretty good. Yeah, thank you. The vidma of Ukrainian folklore and folk songs weren't our witches. They weren't burned for their knowledge. They were celebrated for it. They were the keepers of the communal knowledge, the keepers of the community's reservoir of information about the environment, about the plants and animals and everything about where they lived, which is a perfect metaphor for how they operate in the occupied territories now, because they know everything and they see everything. The challenge is passing that information on to the Ukrainian military. But it's these vidma who flit from place to place in the shadows, invisibly, reporting on Russian activities and Russian positions that have really turned the tide in these occupied territories by feeding the Middle Strike campaign.
The way that they're feeding information along, in part, does this help also explain perhaps why Russia has tried to crack down and shut off the internet and all these other steps to try to limit people's ability to get online? Is that part of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely Orwellian. The intensity and density of the Russian surveillance net in places like Mariupol is such that you can't live a normal life. I mean, roughly half of the adult population of Mariupol has been polygraphed at this point. In 2022 and 2023, the Russian authorities attempted to ban the colors blue and yellow, the colors of the Ukrainian flag. There are stories from families in occupied Mariupol who were receiving care packages, like Red Cross packages, with packets of crayons or markers for their school-aged kids, and the blue and yellow crayons were ripped out. I mean, that's how paranoid the Russian occupiers are. But in addition to that, they have blanketed these cities with high-definition cameras. So even if you mask up, and teenagers in Mariupol used to love doing this, they would spray paint this Ukrainian letter Y, which doesn't appear in the Russian alphabet. They would tag the sides of abandoned buildings with it. Even if your face isn't showing, the Russians were able to walk back from camera to camera where you started from and then round up your whole family. So the formal resistance has now put the word out and is emphatic. And I actually feel a personal obligation to help them with this, to say, knock it off. Like the symbolic acts of resistance, they may have buoyed our spirits in the early days of the occupation. That's not what we need right now. In fact, the commander of the Mariupol resistance told me, we need intel, not art. And he was talking about those graffiti campaigns, or even playing a Ukrainian song in public is enough to get you taken to the basement. They don't want people doing that. They want people supplying intel.
So where do you see all this headed in the future? I mean, it's insane when you think of what people's expectations were, which makes this that much better. Oh, will Ukraine last a month? Will they last? I mean, there's so much optimism now. I guess I'm asking if you share it, that they literally not only could take back all of Ukraine, but could frankly march into Russia if they wanted to. I'm not saying they do want to. I'm just saying,
it's going to be a hard slog. The war is not over. I'm not even sure it's halfway over, because the Russians don't care about people. I mean, Ukrainian generals refer to the Russian infantry as human radar because of how it's used. Russian commanders will send their infantry in waves, like radar, waves of people, though, against Ukrainian positions. And wherever the bodies pile up, that's where the Ukrainian machine gun is. And with a mindset like that, I mean, it is going to take a society-changing event to break it. I think that is coming. When you look at the long-range strike campaign and the effect that is having on Russian society, they are finally feeling the pain of the war they started. But at the front, they're losing between 35,000 and 40,000 people a month. That's a Vietnam every 6 weeks. That's not sustainable long-term. And we're just in the past few days, we've gotten new recruiting stats out of Russia, and they're not able to make up that gap.
I'm so glad you mentioned the long-range strikes, because it feels like the big news over the last, 4 to 6 weeks has been the ability of Ukraine to launch drones, not just, short range, but long range. I think into Siberia, something like 1,500 kilometers, 3,000 kilometers.
3,000,
is like what, 20 some hundred miles away. A drone that can, and goes to their largest oil refinery and takes it out. And not just one drone, but like 13 of them that got through. There's another, I think, a facility in Omsk that, they're constantly now hitting these refineries that used to be essentially too far away. At least the Russians thought they were too far away. They were protected. And also we've seen the strikes in Moscow. Is that possible, that sort of economic pressure with the gas lines and the lack of gasoline and petroleum and all that sort of stuff, is that maybe the event you're talking about as far as flipping things?
I think that's it. And there's an observation buried in the stats about these long-range strikes that I think tells its own story. And it's that some of these refineries are getting hit 2 and 3 times. The Russians know they're coming and they still can't stop it. This is going to come down to air defenses. I think the whole war is going to boil down to who can stop these attacks from the air. The Ukrainians have gotten really good at it. There are still some that get through, but the Ukrainians have gotten so good at it that we are now quietly asking them for advice on how to protect our bases in the Middle East. Our Gulf allies are asking the Ukrainians for advice, not us, on how to protect their capital cities. European countries have Ukrainian experts in their capitals telling them how to answer drone swarm attacks. The Ukrainians have spent years trying to solve this problem. And on a given night when 800 drones and missiles are launched at a city like Kyiv and other major cities across the city, a handful do get through, but 90+% are taken down. The math is inverted with Russia. They have not approached the problem similarly. And they are also so riven with corruption that many of these air defense systems are now encircling oligarchs' compounds, right? They're protecting things like that instead of strategic assets. And the last priority for them, and this is evident on the battlefield, is those poor Russian infantry guys or the truck drivers trying to resupply Crimea. They're not getting the prestige air defense systems because they're having to pull them back. And even when they do pull them back, Russia's once strategic advantage, which was its size and depth, is now a strategic liability. They cannot protect it all.
Ken, what is that? Cliff, I don't mean to interrupt you here, but
go.
What is the inside story, or what is the backstory behind these long-range drones? Because we saw, of course, short-range drones for a couple of years, and it just feels like in the last few months, this ability, and we remember, Cliff and I did a whole show. What was it? And Cliff, you were talking about the drones that were buried in crates and suddenly popped up and took down the Russian Air Force.
That was James Bond
stuff. Pre-position drones, but it's another to be able to fly a drone 3,000 kilometers. How did that happen?
I think the real backstory is the Ukrainians finally stopped waiting on us. They finally stopped waiting for the Americans to give them both the equipment and the permission to do this kind of thing. And what we're seeing now is Ukraine fighting finally without one hand tied behind its back by the Americans. For years, we have strung them along with promises of Tomahawk missiles or other long-range strike capability. Even worse, when we have given them weapons like ATACMS and HIMARS and things like that, we've told them they can't use them in the most effective way. We've told them they can't strike targets within Russia. Even airfields from which MiGs are launching attacks on Ukrainian cities. They finally said, enough. We're going to fight this war our way, on our terms. And what you see is Ukraine unleashed, developing domestic capability to strike deep inside Russia. The Flamingo is a Ukrainian-produced and designed, produced, manufactured weapon system that is striking thousands of kilometers inside Russia. They have stopped waiting for permission from the U.S.
In that way, maybe Trump did something good accidentally for once. I know he only can do good things accidentally. So, you're a smart guy, study history, obviously, of warfare. Can you think of other examples that are anything close to this, where somebody was sort of such an underdog in this kind of a way, and just through sheer, having, an amazing wartime leader and sheer innovation and perseverance has been able to pull this kind of at least so far, this kind of a thing off?
I think the best example that people might be familiar with, and it's as much a leadership example as it is an example about logistics and technology, is Britain on the eve of our entry into World War II. The Battle of Britain, again, an air battle, and so many parallels. You get the feeling that Putin's never cracked a book, unless it's a book full of Russian myths about a history that doesn't actually exist. But he has learned none of the lessons of the failed Nazi air campaign against Great Britain, which was, the parallels line up really tragically beautifully. The Nazis were bombing cities like Putin is bombing cities instead of the airfields. They were going after, they were waging a terror campaign. The Ukrainians, by contrast, when they strike Russia, are not waging a terror campaign. They are waging a strategic campaign. They're going after the things that fuel the Russian war machine. And obviously the most compelling parallel is between Churchill and Zelensky.
I was
would
going to
argue,
say, I mean,
and,
Zelensky
yeah,
has to be an all-time leader at this point.
all time. I think he trumps Churchill, and not just, you know, some of Churchill's skeletons, but the fact is that Churchill never had tanks 40 kilometers from London. Churchill was on an unsinkable aircraft carrier the whole time. Zelensky had to make a decision to stay, and he made that decision with tanks at his doorstep, with FSB agents and Spetsnaz crawling over Kyiv. There were no successful Nazi infiltrations of London. There was a couple of landings. They rounded the guys up days into their operations, but there is an ever-present threat against Zelensky, at least there was early in the war, by Russian special forces, not to mention the tank battalions at Kyiv's doorstep, and he stayed anyway and rallied his people to their defense.
Yeah, that famous line, I'll just say quickly, David, and go ahead, you know, which will be an all-time line, and I don't know the exact words of it, but essentially where I don't need a ride out of here. I need weapons to win the war, whatever, when he refused passage out. I mean, that is, I mean, the ultimate in leadership.
It's leadership.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, I mean, the courage and the bravery. Every time that I see Zelensky go to a NATO summit or come to Washington or travel anywhere, I mean, we think about the amount of security and how, you know, anxious Donald Trump was and how he switched planes in Turkey because he was afraid of Iranian short-range missiles, whatever it is. Imagine the concerns and the security apparatus that has to be in place to protect Zelensky when he's traveling. Because, Ken, I got to believe that if Putin had an opportunity to take out Zelensky, he would.
Yeah, I think he would as well. One of my big fears is that Zelensky doesn't see his country liberated. I think that is a real possibility given the threats he faces every single day, especially when he travels. And I just want to offer this observation that I think one of the reasons that Trump hates Zelensky so much, like viscerally,
because he's everything Trump isn't.
Yeah, he holds up a mirror. Every time Trump is in the same room as Zelensky, even though he's a foot taller, he looks like a mouse. He looks like a mouse in front of a lion. And I think he must pick up on that in rooms where Zelensky walks in and the place just lights up. You see it every time. Every time he goes to NATO or somewhere else, people want to be near Zelensky. They want to shake his hand. I think they want to be able to tell their great grandkids that I was in the room with that man. Meanwhile, Trump is in a corner, you know, bobbing, waiting for someone to notice him.
Leaning like 3/4 of the way forward.
That's right.
Tipping over.
Because he's a pariah, and he's made America a pariah.
Sure. But he's also, go ahead, David.
No, I was just going to, I didn't mean change. I don't want to sort of change the conversation, but sort of back to, you know, we talked a lot about Ukraine and the resistance and these witches and how remarkable what they've done to try to feed information about occupied Ukrainian territory. But back to sort of Russia itself, I think it was, you know, for the first time a couple of weeks ago, there's some of Putin's top propagandists who literally went on state television and said the war has been lost. And I thought, oh my God, given the number of, you know, Russian oligarchs and various people and critics who have fallen out of windows.
I was going to say, were they in hotel rooms with 5th floors? Because I'd be scared.
I mean, so it feels like that's also something of a turning point, right?
Read between the lines with those comments. And I want you to read between the lines for a couple of reasons, to understand who they are actually criticizing, and then to make the parallel to the United States today. Because almost every time, if you get past the original or the initial criticism to like the expanded criticism, they will add something like the people around Putin are giving him bad advice, right? They're still afraid to criticize Putin directly. It is almost identical to how Republicans talk about Trump. You think about this disastrous war against Iran, it's never Trump's fault. It's that people around Trump are giving him bad advice. I think that's how you know an autocracy is in its last days. Eventually, they see that the king has no clothes, but step one is saying that everyone around him is an idiot. He can't be blamed for his failures. He's just surrounded himself with bad advisors.
Now, in their defense, everybody around him is an idiot. I mean, we're going to be honest,
or a coward. Yeah.
Uday and Kusei, his sons, not smart. Hegseth and the gang, not very bright. But again, he chose these people to be around him. So if we're going to call him a leader, which I hesitate to use that word with him, then in the end, he's ultimately responsible because he's an idiot and he's chosen idiots to be around him. And they've fired all sorts of generals and others with experience, and he brought in a guy who was a weekend backup host for Fox, who threw an axe once in the street and almost hit somebody for a segment. So, if this is what you're choosing to have, and let's not get into Kash Patel. So I mean, I do think that still is a big part of it. But you're right, he's the cowardice. When you think of someone like Zelensky and everything he's willing to put on the line, and then you look at that little mouse, Mike Johnson, it almost sickens you, honestly. I mean, the difference. But
I hope Americans see it, and I think that's one of the reasons why uplifting the example of Ukraine is so important. It's not just about Ukraine. I mean, obviously, it's about the entire region. If Ukraine falls, Poland's next, the Baltics are next. But it's also about showing Americans what real leadership looks like. It's about showing Americans what fighting for democracy really looks like. And in this 250th year of our existence, I mean, it makes you wonder if if our best days are behind us. But if the worst thing that happens is that Ukraine carries the torch from here, I think democracy will live on because it burns so bright in Ukraine, it's almost blinding.
You mentioned, Ken, how Ukraine and Zelensky, they've gone to great lengths to try to focus the attacks on military targets and infrastructure and energy, whereas Russia is simply trying to terrorize Ukrainian civilians and pressure it that way. Is one of the reasons that Zelensky's trying to be so careful because Russia has nukes and Ukraine doesn't, and Putin's being told every day by some members of the Kremlin, hey, drop a nuclear device in Kyiv and the war will end?
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I don't think the Ukrainians, they have gotten past the nuclear blackmail thing.
Okay.
In fact, Ukrainians have told me, if that's what it takes, bring it. We are getting hit by hundreds and hundreds of drones every night. If a tactical nuke set off on the Eastern Front or something like that finally turns China against Russia, because that would truly turn Russia into a pariah state. And look, Putin, unlike some leaders that we have had to deal with internationally, he's bloodthirsty, he's brutal, he's not crazy. He wants to survive. And I think even he knows that would be a Rubicon. But more importantly, the Ukrainians are so damn tired of having to hedge with this nuclear blackmail every time they get an advantage. For the first couple of years, that's why the U.S. was holding them back, because Putin's nuclear blackmail was working. The Ukrainians have reached the point where they're like, we're going to fight. We're just going to fight, and we're not going to be afraid of this guy.
What do you find at this point, if you do find this, are there feelings towards us? Because first, I'm going to ask this in two parts. The second part is the obvious one, Donald Trump, who has, gotten his knees almost in Helsinki for Putin and forever has said how great he is and kissed his ass and, whatever compromise or whatever payoff or maybe nothing, that Trump's just a pathetic little fanboy, but whatever the reasoning is behind that. But the second part is, we were instrumental in convincing them to give up their nukes. And part of that was security promises that we did not live up to in the end. I mean, the betrayal, if I were them, that would be really hard for me to get over, that they had a weapon that could have at least, led to a balance of power of sorts, and they gave it up, and they've paid a heavy price for it. And, we were a crucial NATO party that convinced them to do it. So how do they see us?
I am amazed that they give Americans any grace at all. but they do. They love Americans. They hate our current regime, but they are able to make the distinction.
We agree.
And it's humbling every time, because I frankly don't think we deserve it. 70 million Americans voted for this guy. But this has happened to me more than once when I introduce myself in a new setting in Ukraine, and they find out I'm from America, and they sort of shake their heads and they're like, "Man, I'm sorry what your country is going through." Like, what?
Like, are you guys okay?
What? And if I have the opportunity to get into it with them, then it comes out. They're like, at least we know who the bad guys are. At least we feel like one country. At least we know what's worth fighting for. And America seems just so confused right now. It doesn't know who the good guys and the bad guys are. It's fighting with itself. It's no longer a values-based country. Everything is transactional, whether it's, Trump getting a $400 million bribe jet from the Qataris, or charging a 20% surcharge for transit through the Strait of Hormuz, which he just announced either yesterday or this morning. I mean, that's not the America that I grew up in. It's not the America that my granddad flew B-17s for and that my dad flew Phantoms for. There was, even though it was always imperfect and unrealized, at least an attempt to live up to our values. There isn't even an attempt these days, and the Ukrainians feel sorry for us.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't even try to hide it. It's sort of just accepted, because he knows, again, the mouse man, Mike Johnson, is not going to do anything, so nothing's going to happen to him. What do you think the effect could be? Some people may not know this, but as in many ways terrible as Lindsey Graham was, and he was, and I will not defend him. He sold out himself out and most of his values to Donald Trump. But one of the few things he remained, it seemed to me, pretty good on was Ukraine. Is that he kept advocating. I think that was one of the last things he did. He was over there meeting with Zelensky. So do we think it? And even, my God, it's very hard for me to say anything slightly positive about Mitch McConnell, who has destroyed our democracy. But he also was somebody that spoke out about supporting Ukraine. I mean, without McConnell and Lindsey Graham there, it's just MAGA time, isn't it? I mean, you've got maybe Susan Collins with their frowny face, and maybe Lisa Murkowski or Tillis say something, but not many left who are institutionalists who, caring about NATO and that kind of thing.
Yeah. The answer is to replace them with Democrats. I mean, that's the only way forward. It is a minefield, and I've been in actual minefields, to talk about, like, good.
You have the standing to talk about minefield. I do not, but you do.
We'll have to see. If you're asking about the particulars, we'll have to see where Graham's replacement, his sister, is on this question. I imagine she's similarly sympathetic, although she won't have the ear of the president like he did. But the only long-term solution here is to deliver such a damning verdict to the Republican Party, which has become a MAGA party, which exists for one reason, which is to demonstrate fealty to Trump. The only way to punish that enough so that it does not come back is to punish it at the polls.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to vote for Democrats. I know I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know or believe, but that means in some cases swallowing our pride if we lost tough primaries and if our person didn't win, because I guarantee you in every case, the Democrat is going to be better on these issues and on the defense of democracy than a Republican, at least a national Republican, who was thrown in their lot with Trump. Because the ones who have spoken up against him, the Masseys and others, they're gone. They've been purged.
Yeah. Can I say something quickly, David? Because programming note for folks. We were lucky enough we heard from Dr. Annie Andrews' campaign, who is running in South Carolina and was already taking on Lindsey Graham and within 3 points. And she seems like an amazing candidate. We're talking to them right now. We will likely have her on next week. So just so folks know, because we need, winning a seat in South Carolina would virtually guarantee the thing to us. So,
Well, and one of the things, Cliff, that we were, I think, mentioning is that one of the final things Lindsey Graham was talking about in Ukraine was this new sanctions regime that he wanted to put on Russia to put even more pressure on them. Obviously, the Ukrainians want that. They want the United States to be able to provide more, I guess, Patriot missiles. What else in terms of when Americans look at what can we be pressuring our elected representatives to do for Ukraine? What would the answer be?
Patriots, the big one.
Yeah.
The Ukrainians have out-innovated the Russians in every single domain except ballistic interceptors. That's something only a very few countries in the world can do, and we have the marquee system, that Patriot interceptor. When you do hear about mass casualty events in Kyiv, it's likely because of these ballistic missiles that the Russians are now launching, which is wild just to say. I mean, these are nuclear capable missiles that Russia is launching against apartment buildings. Buildings.
I mean, God.
The good news, if there is any silver lining at all, is that when the forensics are done on these things, many of them have manufacturer dates in the last few months. The Russians are, it's not like they have stockpiles left. They are firing these things as fast as they can build them. And so there's a chance they will run out. But in the meantime, Ukraine needs help shooting these things down. They can get the Shaheds, they can get the drones, they can even get the cruise missiles. But these ballistic missiles, the kinds of things that we would have launched at Russia if World War III kicked off, they're knocking those things out.
Russia, I mean, one thing, obviously, they've been known for, infamous for, I mean, from the czars through, the Soviets, through whatever we want to call the more modern sort of casino capitalist oligarchic phase, has been their disinformation, right? The fact that their active measures, their disinformation, they seem to have lapped us when it comes to this. Has that been harmed by what's going on in Ukraine?
Their disinformation in the U.S. I mean, if you think about, I just had Alex Vindman on the show. He was sitting on a call between Trump and Zelensky, the so-called perfect phone call, largely because of a Russian disinformation campaign that convinced God knows how many millions of Americans that Ukraine was involved in an election scheme in this country. They were not. There were no servers in Ukraine that Zelensky could have turned over to our intelligence community. But
those are set up for the ghost of Hugo Chavez, I believe, in Venezuela. Go ahead. Sorry.
The Russians spend billions on this stuff. The Russian government, our answer since the end of the Cold War has been to outsource that to Hollywood. We barely invested in Voice of America and things like that, as our adversaries are spending billions of tax dollars on pushing back. The Chinese, the Russians in particular, have entire branches of their government within their military infrastructure dedicated to misinformation. Prigozhin, the Wagner guy, who built his own private army inside Russia. I mean, one of his main products that he delivered to the Russian government were these troll farms, these bot farms that could feed disinformation into our civic discourse. One of my regular guests on the Ken Harbaugh show, Chris Goldsmith, is one of the country's foremost Nazi researchers and extremism researchers. He talks about this incident, I think it was in Philadelphia, where these Russian disinformation teams were able to agitate enough far left people in this country and enough neo-Nazis in this country to show up on a street in Philly at the same time. That was a conflict engineered for American TVs by the Russians. Yeah, they're very good at this.
They set up a fake Black Lives Matter organization, and I
all of that
talked a lot on this channel about, obviously what's going on in Israel, separating people in the Democratic Party, but that since 1967, well, it goes way back, but the Operation SIG, I guess it was called, which was sowing anti-Semitic sort of discourse throughout various Western countries, because that was one of the ways to divide the West, was to use anti-Semitism. They even had a plan to blow up buildings in Harlem at one point and try to blame Jews for it and get the Jewish and Black communities fighting. So I almost feel like that's gotten weaker, but with some of the stuff going on right now, it feels very Russian to me, is what I would say.
Hmm.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I believe it. I believe it. Olga Lautman is really good on this stuff.
She is.
If you're not
I'm friends
following
with her,
it,
and I want to have her.
Yeah.
We've had her on
Yeah.
before, and I want to have her on again soon. Because I mean, that's her background, right? So
Yep, that's her background. And Putin is former KGB, right?
Right.
Former KGB, then FSB. Like this is his
is
his playground.
And then, of course, Bibi Netanyahu is a ghoul who's played right into it and helped them sow that language and that discourse because of what he's done. So it's almost and he's kind of friendly with Putin too. So it's sort of the perfect storm, if you will.
Ken, in the follow up to your Atlantic piece, if you were going to write a sequel of sorts, first of all, what do you know about some of your sources and how they're doing? And what are some of the next sort of stories you would want to tell? And related to this, I think a lot of our viewers would wonder how difficult, and it sounds like it's really difficult to get into occupied Ukraine. And how do you as a journalist, as a storyteller do it?
Yeah, can I add to that? Like, it sounds like you're there a lot. How often are you going there?
So I go up to the zero line. There is a unit that I operate with that has kept me, they've gotten me home every time. And we have built a very high degree of trust. I mean, this story was years in the making because one, it took a while to develop the sources, but it really took years to develop the trust, to be able to talk to some of these folks. And, I got to say that the commanders of the resistance are not inside occupied territory. Right. They are too valuable. They're not going to put a commander who knows the identities of multiple agents in the occupied territories. With the technologies they have now for communicating, the commanders can be in free Ukraine and manage their assets, their sources from free Ukraine. My next story, I can't talk about, but I can yet. I would love to come back.
Could you tell us, but you'd have to kill us?
Sorry.
This one it's just fraught with legal issues. It is, I'm walking a very narrow line to get this story responsibly, without, crossing any lines. I'll leave it at that. But there is a longer term story I'm working on about the early days of the resistance. And I don't know, maybe this brings us full circle because the working title is The Wolverines of Kherson, about young people, and in particular, 3 teenage sisters who led a resistance cell in occupied Kherson simply because, and in almost every case, the people thrust into these jobs never imagined themselves doing this kind of thing. It's the least likely people you would expect, but they answer their country's call in its time of need. These 3 sisters just happened to have a bedroom window that overlooked the Antonivsky Bridge, which for 9 months was the most important bridge in the world because it was Russia's arterial resupply route into that part of southern Ukraine. And they were the main source of intel to help liberate that part of Kherson. I do have to say, and I know we're up against the clock, but since then, the formal resistance leadership, the resistance in these occupied territories has categorically banned the use of kids in resistance operations. In the early days, they were just scrambling. It was all hands on deck, but kids are not involved in resistance activities in occupied Ukraine today.
I mean, you'd hope not, but my guess is, as always, right, there are some probably people who are 16 or 15 or whatever, ran off to fight World War II here and, found a way
for obvious reasons. The party line is kids are not involved.
No, I understand. They probably, and I believe they probably try to stop them, but I'm sure some who care that much find a way to, to get papers or whatever, because
that's right.
Wouldn't you want to, if this is your country? Like, I don't know. I would think if they're attacking my country, no matter what age I was, I would want to do that.
Well, some of the stories that I had to leave out were of commanders telling kids why they can't be part of it. And saying we in fact, this part did make it in, but one commander told me that he tells these kids, you'll get your chance when you turn 18. And I sort of stupidly asked him, they'll get their chance for what? And his response was basically to die for your country. Until then, Yeah, he said they'll get their chance to be heroes, but I knew what he meant. And it made me realize as a father, I never want my kids to have the chance to be heroes.
No, none of us who are, and we're all parents here. I mean, and it's a horrifying thought that even that's a necessity, right? That,
Yeah, I can barely trust my daughter to go get the mail. I can't even imagine her trying to walk in town on somebody. Ken, your work has been so amazing. And whether it's on Substack and the Ken Harbaugh show and the work for Atlantic, it is really. I mean, I know there's some more chapters to be written. I just hope that they're written. I hope that you have an opportunity to write them in a way that continues the I think the elated feeling that we have right now with the momentum going in Ukraine's favor, and hopefully these occupied territories of Ukraine will be freed before long.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Also,
really appreciate the time.
Yeah.
Of course, any other stories you have and can tell that need to be out there. I mean, I would think anybody who cares about human beings, anybody who cares about democracy would feel a duty to share all of this. So please, Ken, I mean, break your stories where you need to break them. We're not asking for that, but I'd love to amplify them in any way that you can here.
Thanks, Ken.
All right.
Wonderful.
Love you guys.
With you as always.
One last thing for you, Ken. Be careful. We like you a lot.
All right.
Don't trust anybody, Ken.
That's right. Don't trust anybody.
I don't think we need to give Ken advice. He gets it.
No, he probably knows his stuff about this. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See ya.
Bye.
Cliff, it is just, I mean, his work is so remarkable. And the story itself, which is, I think, what you were getting at, can you imagine? I mean, 5 years ago, the idea that Ukraine was going to last more than a month. And now, not only have they essentially, not only is this not just a stalemate, but they're gaining ground. I mean, they may reclaim Crimea. They're striking deep into Russia. I mean, the momentum is on their side. They're winning this war. It's not just a draw anymore.
No, I mean, that's the thing is it can be really tough during these times, especially as Americans, to have positive feelings about the governments, any government, the world, anything in general. And I mean, I don't think they understand how much of a story that is, how much that heartens us, just to see what they're doing. It's sort of it gives you faith that the good folks actually can win. It doesn't mean there won't be horrific losses along the way. That was inevitable. But the fact that they, in the situation they were in technologically at the time, right, when they were first invaded, and sort of nobody believed in them. We had a president elected here who clearly wanted Putin to win, and there were certain other, NATO members at the time, Orban, another great success story, getting his ass out of office, who were supporting Putin, and Magyar just the other day came out and said it's very clear Russia is the aggressor here. Ukraine, I mean that. So, all that's amazing, and Ken's amazing because I don't think people get it. I don't care how much security you have. I don't care how safe it is. My guess is you took a couple trips for your job as a journalist that were a little bit frightening, like that. I got on one for the. Go ahead.
I was going to say Bosnia in 1996, when I was a reporter in Little Rock, Arkansas. The Little Rock Air Force Base had the largest supply of C-130 transport aircraft. So in the midst of the airlift into Bosnia, planes were going from Little Rock Air Force Base, and I was able to get on an aircraft. It went from Little Rock to McGuire Air Force Base to Portugal to Germany, and then from Germany, we went into Bosnia, did the whole corkscrew landing, and then I got off in Tuzla and spent a week running around in Tuzla. It was over New Year's, and people would fire guns in the air. And so at your hotels, you had tape on the windows because if a window shattered, you didn't want it to come into the room, and you knew to sleep far closer to the door, away from the windows. And I was like, wow, what an adventure. But that's nothing. Being in a place like that in Bosnia in the 90s, that's nothing compared to what, or even, the going into Baghdad or all the difference. It's really nothing compared to what Ken has been doing with these embedded units with Ukraine, the zero units, and going into right up to the front lines. It is remarkable.
It is. I'll say quickly, because it's a funny story. I can't even claim even what you did. But when I was doing this stuff for USIA, the State Department democracy promotion, and they sent me one time to Romania, and I had to fly from Bucharest up to this northern city right on the Ukraine border, actually called Yash. And I was looking and it was like this small kind of crappy plane that looked like it was made from the 1970s. And one of our workers at the consulate there, who was Romanian working in the American consulate, turned to me and she's like, "We call this one a flying coffin." And I was like, "Wonderful, let's go climb on board." And so, yeah, that was enough to, I mean, normally I'm not scared of flying. That one, every time we hit like turbulence, I'm like, okay, here we go. So I was like, thank you for telling me that. That was great. But what he's doing is on a whole different level, the danger he's putting himself in. So I just hope he's safe and can keep telling these amazing stories. I know, have stuff to go do with the kids.
I got to pick up camp kids.
We have God here.
Great show, great guest, great host, Cliff Schechter. And I know you got a double today.
We do. We have a double. We have literally the Lord himself or herself. We have God here, who I'll bring. If you want to say a quick hello to God, David.
Yes.
Hey.
Hello, God.
I've been watching your conversation the whole time.
Like through StreamYard or from above?
Yes.
Wow. I'm going to peel off because this is starting to remind me of certain, magic mushroom trips from once upon a time.
And now for something completely different.
Yeah, you didn't tell me that I should have I should have taken a gummy before I came on here. It would have been awesome. I've been on God's show before, and this dude, God, is hilarious and fun to talk to, and we're gonna have fun. We'll miss you, David Schuster.
I will watch
too, and I think God would appreciate that.
I will watch the replay later because you can never get away from God. That's just what it is.
God's always there.
Have a great afternoon, you guys. God, thank you, Cliff. My favorite. And I'm trying to say, I want to say you're a god, Cliff, but I think there should be some monuments and statues.
Oh, no. I'm sort of just some asshole wandering the streets, and there's a microphone here, and so here I am.
All right, enjoy the conversation, you guys. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye.
God, my man, how are you?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
It's going pretty well. What's going pretty well? What have you been doing? Like, I went on your show. It's probably a month, 2 months ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just been watching you guys talk. Serious conversation,
Yeah,
trying to read the room that I'm stepping into. It's
that's smart. You always want to read the room. Don't you sort of naturally have that ability?
Yeah, sure.
Like Donald Trump, he reads rooms pretty well.
Does he?
He does seem to. It's sort of he seems to me to be. I want to use sort of a technical term here. A complete fucking moron, I think, is what I would say.
Yeah. That's right. But you're right. He does seem to. He operates like life is a reality television show.
But yeah, he does seem to have that animal instinct where he walks into a room and he knows what everybody wants, so he knows what bullshit he can sell them. You know what I mean? That seems to be that one thing that he's
not smart, but he knows simple arithmetic. He's like, okay, I lose 2 senators. Now I need to get rid of 2 senators from the other side. They're illegitimately elected.
That's true. He can actually put that kind of math together. And I guess we'll get that announcement tomorrow about how they raided Fulton County and found nothing, but will claim they found something, or I don't know. And somehow Warnock and Ossoff, I guess, aren't legitimate senators. I mean, this guy is so pathetic. He will do anything because he just knows. We were talking about Lindsey Graham, who probably isn't up there with you, is probably with a colleague of yours down below. And
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, that seems fair. And you're talking about him.
But yes,
but that race,
he's in hell.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yes, I can't confirm. But he's in hell. Well, that seems about the right place for him. So that seems about right.
Mm-hmm.
And how like we're hopefully going to have on the Democratic candidate who was his opponent and now will be taking on whatever scumsucker they find. Hopefully Nancy Mace, because I'm sure she can find a way to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And Annie Andrews seems terrific. She always has it. She was only down 3 points, 48-45 before. So this is. I'm hoping we get to talk with her next week, because it looks like we will. We can.
You're gonna talk to Nancy Mace?
No. Actually, I'd really enjoy that too. I don't think she'd come on here because I would say a lot of really unnice things, and I don't think she's used to being talked to that way.
Do you like my new hell background? It really pops, right?
It does pop. That's sweet. What other background you got?
Sweet, right? I got so many. I
Yeah.
got so many things.
Like, what's the background you'd have if Pete Hegseth were there? Do you have a background for him?
That's a really good question. I mean, you tell me.
Well, I would think it would all be really blurry because you'd be hammered.
Hold on, I got it for you. I got it for you. Where is it? I'll find it somewhere.
right.
Here we
You
go.
do your thing. You take your time.
Cheers.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna
I
set a
guess
cheers.
That's like the Hegseth Cash Patel memorial.
Did you see he put out a video now saying that he wants to give soldiers, if they have low T, they can get testosterone?
I did see that. I wonder if there was some projection going on there. I saw that. I'm like, what? Right? What
No,
is
you're in the middle of a war that you're losing, that you started, and he's like, we need testosterone injections?
maybe better than that would have been some sort of ocular exam to ensure you could read a map and see that there was something called the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
That might have been a better way to go than the testosterone thing. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Literally the dumbest people. It's hard to walk the line between finding the humor and being utterly horrified at all times. You know what I'm saying?
I actually know very much what you're saying. That is a challenge that I find.
Like, how are you getting through these days and nights?
Probably with the aforementioned gummies and when necessary, a good
You're welcome.
tequila. Yeah, thank you for that. A good tequila here and there is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I try to at least get some exercise, do some workouts regularly.
Yeah, you're watching some TV shows.
Let some endorphins go. I am actually. The thing is, God,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that pisses me off as much as anything else about Donald Trump and all these assholes is that I used to love to read, and I would read,
Yeah.
novels at night and, whatever it was, read historical fiction, just read history, read whatever. But when I'm done with a day of reading about all of their crap, I don't even want to read when I get home at night. I don't want to look at anything. Like, they've ruined that for me. So actually I watch more like streaming.
It's their fault you don't read. I agree.
You see? I still do read.
They gave you compulsory, mandatory ADHD or something.
Exactly. No. Listen, I can still read and I can prove it to you. Man, woman, person, camera.
Can they say the same? Yeah.
Yeah. I took that cognitive test for the third time, and that's totally
Here's the
not
thing.
unusual.
I don't care, if people can read, good. But can they understand what they're reading? It's a little class called reading comprehension.
Yeah.
And thinking critically.
Yeah.
And like AI, what maybe an accidental thing about AI is like people are being forced to think critically against their will unless they're just like a total idiot and they just believe everything. Like every dog and every cat now is a superhero that rescues people.
That I can believe. My cats, if they had thumbs, I've said before, I would hand our country over to.
But you can't believe anything that you see now.
No, I know.
Like everybody sees that picture of Mitch McConnell.
Oh my God.
And
have you seen the other ones out there? Like, I've just taken one.
Are there other ones? Did they release more?
Let's see if I still have.
Because
I wouldn't call them.
I've been on a tear. I've been on a bit of a tear lately.
Yeah.
Can I just I know that things are rough, but can I just recount some of my greatest hits in the last month? Okay.
God, you're God. You get to do that.
Yeah. Trump's State Fair was a massive failure because of all the heat and thunderstorms and the incompetence and let me see. I made it hot as hell for his July 4th speech, and he had to delay it until like midnight. Oh, I sent hail when he went to South Dakota.
Good.
My lightning sent MAGA to the African American History Museum. While they were waiting for his speech.
Dude, you have been on a roll.
I've been on a roll. I sent the algae to his reflecting pool. Lindsey Graham died.
Yeah.
How did Lindsey Graham die before Mitch McConnell and Chuck Grassley?
I was going to say, so this is one of my favorite statistics to bring up that most people don't know, but you're God, you know this, of course, 'cause
Yeah.
you know all. Chuck Grassley is the only senator left who voted against the Martin Luther King Day holiday. That was in 1983, and that fucking guy is still there. In fact, he was elected in 1980.
He voted
Senator.
against MLK Day.
He did, and
Racist
he's still
bastard.
there. And if he didn't come from a state that is 98.7% white, maybe he'd pay a price for it. But you know, they don't seem to care. And so, yes,
So I agree. It's time to dissolve the Senate.
exactly. Get rid of it.
The Senate is a vestige of slavery. Yes, exactly. Get rid of the Senate. Expand the Congress by 4,000 seats to
There you
reflect current population levels. Popular vote. Expand and reform the Supreme Court. You're gonna have no choice in the end.
Well, I mean, yeah, certainly. The when it comes to the Senate, the representation is ridiculous, and if you want to keep a U.S. Senate, it has to have some semblance of reality. I mean, Wyoming has like more cows than people, I believe.
South Dakota, Wyoming,
right?
Yeah.
You get
All the-
California, and so that's fair. My advocacy on that has been because obviously changing the Constitution very difficult. Adding states though, not difficult. You just need an act of Congress.
yeah.
So everybody, we never.
You just gotta do things.
We're never bold enough, is what I'm trying to
You
say.
just exactly like
know,
right now.
here's-
That Mitch McConnell photo was like Weekend at Bernie's, right? And many people, even Republicans, are saying it's not real. That picture is not real. I don't know what you think. What do you think it was real or not real?
I think it was fake.
Really?
I really do. I don't believe it.
Wow.
I can't believe that. Like there's stuff like that.
You think they're using AI?
Yes, I do.
Whoa! Do you think they had AI Mitch McConnell talk to Scott Jennings?
Here, do you think this one's?
Oh, that's really good. Oh,
Yeah.
I hate AI, but damn, that is a good Photoshop.
No, I mean
or whatever
this one's
it is
as
doing
real as
there.
this one's as real as the other one.
Wow. That yeah, I guess. Fighting fire with fire. I think that Weekend at Gurney's. That's good.
Oh, Weekend at Gurney's. I like it.
So you don't think it's real? Did you think
I
they had
really-
Scott
I-
Jennings
I-
talk to AI Mitch?
I'm not an expert at these things, but that not. I mean, that looks like a very fake photo. We've also had enough nurses leak from the hospital. Enough people also. There was a reporter who was there initially say that he was on a ventilator and had to have CPR.
What? And brain dead. Laura Loomer said he was brain dead.
Right. Well, he's been brain dead for a while. That was nothing new. But sorry,
Right.
But,
right.
but CPR when you're 84 tends to break ribs and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The idea that he's sitting there with his jeans on,
Yeah, with his mom jeans that look really cool,
and
on
he
him.
looks better than he's looked in years.
Yeah, no, I don't believe for a second.
Wow,
What have these
the
people
gall.
done? Look at what they've done. I mean, why would we?
And it's all to delay there being a special election. They would do anything. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
Governor Andy Beshear has been, making some sounds like he wants to do something. No, do it. It's
this is
July
always the problem.
15.
There's always the problem is that we should just do it. Like when we
Yes.
that's what I was going to say to you before. My thought on the Senate, which is we were like, okay, let's add DC and Puerto Rico, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, we no longer have manifest destiny as far as I'm aware of.
How long do we have to live stream to pressure Governor Andy Beshear to do this thing in time?
I mean, we'll do it as long as we need to. But let me just say this one thing because I want to get this thought out to people.
Please go ahead.
The U.S. Virgin Islands are a territory. Guam is a territory. The Northern Marianas are a territory. Why Republicans don't like it too bad? They've got Wyoming with 2 senators just because those places have like 100 or 200,000 fewer people. Wyoming is still ridiculously small. Why would we try to have 4 more senators added when we could have 10?
Yeah. Obviously, you can have better things. You just need politicians that are willing to fight and do it. And they're getting close, but I just think, it's kind of crazy when you look at like Mamdani in New York, how many things he's delivered in 7 months compared to how many years you've watched people who work for billionaires and lobbies do
is
nothing.
vote.
They do nothing, and they tell you can't have anything. There's no money for healthcare, but wow, you can easily spend how many billions a day just randomly bombing a country because the president is doesn't want you to think about the Epstein files.
Yeah, I did the math on, and it really wasn't hard actually because it isn't on the $300 billion payment Trump was going to make. That could have given us 1 year of universal child care, universal family and medical leave, and universal, not even free community.
No, but
college.
who's going to
Free
pay for
actual
that? And
college.
you want the rich to have free healthcare? What?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, $300 billion. If it's going to go to Iran because some dumbass fucked up and didn't know there was something called the Strait of Hormuz, decided to start a war he couldn't win, it could go to people having childcare, family and medical leave, and college.
So the only hope is that everybody's getting as like radicalized as you and me, Cliff.
Well, I think there's a lot of us that are pretty fucking pissed off, and I think we're doing what we can to fight back against.
Yeah, we see what they do. They just do the thing and then say who's gonna. You know what he said? It's funny because all this election stuff is coming back from Georgia, right?
Yep.
One thing that stuck out in my mind, it came out that one of the things he said on that call was, who's going to stop you for that? Like, just get me the votes, do this. Who's going to stop you for that? That is their entire operating philosophy. Do the thing, knock down the east wing of the White House. Who's going to stop you for that? Build all your monuments. Who's going to stop you?
The ballroom.
Who do the ballroom? Ballroom. It's
Ballroom.
very important that we have ballroom.
Don't you love that? There's never a the before. It's just ballroom.
We need ballroom.
Ballroom is great. I love ballroom.
I need more room for balls. Drone Empire.
Ballroom is my best
Okay,
friend.
he's terrified, man.
Yeah, he is.
This is like real Hitler shit. Hitler, what didn't Hitler have a bunker that what happened in this bunker? I watched this real funny movie
it
called
didn't end well for him.
I watched this really funny comedy movie called Downfall.
Uh-huh.
Did you see it?
I did not, so you have to tell me about it.
So good.
Yeah, talk to me.
It's funny like a Will Ferrell movie. Oh, it's just the last days of Hitler in the bunker.
Oh,
no, he's literally
and it's meant to be a comedy?
No, it's not meant to be a comedy.
It's just funny.
I'm being a joker because I'm very jokerfied saying that it's funny. It's just if you're as brain rotted as we all are these days, it's crazy because this was not written or made with Trump in mind. The film is considered extremely historically accurate, and he spent much of his last days reviewing his plans, his models of what he wanted Berlin to look like.
That's nice. Did he play with train?
I shit you not.
Did he have any Thomas the Train there to play with? Or no?
I'm sure. No, this is pre-Thomas, but
That's
and
true.
Thomas is English. That would have hurt his feelings. So
and they couldn't have Thomas before they had what's his name?
Thomas was busy bombing him at the time. I just think with the parallels are crazy.
Sitting alone in your bunker, just having it all end on you. That must be tough.
He needs a bunker.
The reason why I asked you if it was a comedy is there was the movie The Death of Stalin, which I think I didn't see and I really want to see because I heard it was funny when it was supposed to be a comedy.
And another one I really love. It was okay. Another one that they're all talking about Stalin as he's dying in the other room. Everyone's afraid. That's a good example as well. But To Be or Not to Be by Mel Brooks.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mel Brooks, the whole genre. I mean, History of the World was classic.
Spaceballs 2 is coming out. Please don't let us down.
I know. I mean, and Mel Brooks is like 100 years old.
Please don't let Mel down.
He's older than Chuck Grassley, but he would have voted for a Martin Luther King Day holiday.
Bless Mel Brooks.
Seriously, he's awesome. And his son gave us World War Z. So how can you not dig the whole family?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe you don't like World War Z.
I don't know. I also like Albert Brooks, but he's not related.
He should be. I mean,
right?
Yeah, you're funny. Your name's Brooks.
Same comedy area, right?
I don't think Mo Brooks is related to any of
Have you seen this new Larry David show?
No, what is it?
Have you seen the sketch with him and Jimmy Kimmel where they were like standing around as American War revolutionaries?
No.
Oh, it's so funny. Check it out.
Seriously, I will. Like, again, This is a lot of what watching comedy and like, like cool drama action kind of things,
Oh, it's Rob Reiner's last sketch, as far as I know.
Oh, wow. Well, that's
It's like
all
the
you had to
last
say.
thing. Yeah, it's really good, and they're just like imagining. They're like they could not have imagined someone like Trump, basically.
No, I don't think any of us had that sort of creative and imagination. Not that we couldn't imagine someone like him existed. I mean, I grew up in New York City, so I knew what a clown he was for a long time.
Yeah.
But
And can we talk about how the fact that he is, what he did to the Central Park 5, right?
yeah, I remember
He's
that.
trying to
I
do
remember
that.
when they were blamed, and I was a kid, right? So I mean, and I say kid, I don't mean like I was 20. I mean, I was a little kid. So I remember the news too, and Trump led the charge,
Right.
and so you believed it. I thought
And he just inserted himself. I don't know why he got up all in it, except that he's racist, and he wanted to be the main.
He's racist,
character.
and he loved.
He wanted to be the main
camera.
character. He wanted attention. Exactly. Now he's going after people for the reflecting pool. He's arrested 7 or 8 people, Judge Jeanine, including a former Olympian, and he's literally prosecuting them, going to try and make a deal out of it for what is now, at first it was 100-yard, 350-foot gash, and now he upped it the other day to 300 yards, 3 football fields with a box cutter. And I know that we have a lot going on. I know that there's a lot more important stuff in the news to talk about, okay? But this is like the emperor has no clothes on track.
I actually think it is really important because think it's we've talked about it here as part of a symptom of the whole thing.
The patterns here, man. He's going after innocent people and trying to prosecute them. He's arresting Americans to make an example of them, to cover up his idiocy and incompetence, and may in fact be responsible for whatever happened there by driving his 10-ton limousine over it.
Yeah,
but he's going to prosecute an Olympian.
Yeah, they can see the sort of track marks in there apparently because he did that. So he did that, but even beyond that, just the whole fucking it up with the color of it and the algae and all the shit.
And then hopefully you hope that it gets in
it.
front of a judge that's sane, because they've got Judge Jeanine to prosecute all this. He's got Todd Blanche. It's just insane, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, apparently Todd Blanche may not, from what David was saying earlier, may not even be confirmed because.
Oh, please. That was the title of my article today was Thou Shalt Not Confirm Todd Blanche.
I mean, well said in your kind of language.
My letter.
Yes, you speak the language. But I think I just, man, these Republicans, he's fucked over. I don't even care about them like I'm not sitting around concerned about their well-being. They went with this asshole for a while, but can you show any spine? A couple of you, Tillis, Cassidy, apparently Cornyn was thinking of voting against him. Yes, like the man came there and destroyed your career. What do you have to lose now? Why would you support anything he supports? Why wouldn't you spend your remaining months there undermining everything?
And the second that Lindsey Graham died, the first thing that Trump said was his last wish was he wanted the SAVE Act passed.
Of course.
And he wanted Todd Blanche confirmed. That was his fight.
He also wanted you to give me more crypto money. Give me some money.
And of course, that's not
opportunity go
true
to waste
at all.
To completely use somebody else's death to his advantage. He does
not care about anyone. He gave Lindsey a 99 out of 100 because he wavered on January 6th for an hour.
Yes. How terrible of him. Look, I think if we want to just sum this up, we would say he didn't go to his son's wedding. I mean, I think his son's an asshole too, but I don't think he has the right to make that judgment. So,
he went golfing instead,
yes.
And he said he was busy with Iran that day, and instead he literally went golfing and posted on Truth Social that day like a thirsty DM for Sean Duffy's wife saying, "Hey baby, I'm back in town." Do you remember that, or did we all memory hole? I'm surprised at my ability to recall this.
I remember everything except for the thing with what's her name?
No, he did.
His wife. I'm not doubting you. I just don't remember. I didn't remember it happened.
Look it up.
Yeah, I believe you. Why? You're God. Why would you lie?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And he's a whore, so why would he not do that?
And this is just the things that we know. You just wait for the things that are going to come out.
I'm kind of scared.
It's like Madison
don't know.
Cawthorn said about all the sex parties and anything. I just beyond all that and the corruption on corruption, murder. It's never ending.
The sex and the blow. Yeah, those things.
Behind the music. Yeah, when they do their VH1 used to do that
Yeah, we need a behind the music episode.
behind the fascism.
Behind fascism. That's what we need.
That's not
right?
funny enough.
No, no. Well, okay.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
Well, yeah, right. Like we're live now, man. We can't always come up with the best thing.
Just yes and yourself, God. Come on, chat. What do you think the VH1 behind the scenes thing would be for this whole era?
Yeah, what would it be called?
What would it be behind the greedy, perverted douchebags? Okay, right. Very good.
I mean, that's not bad, right?
Behind the KGB.
Right. Behind the bloated piss bag. That's what I might call it.
Behind the blow. Honestly, that's the Donald Trump Jr. one.
Yes, exactly. Or you could just call it behind the Epstein.
Behind the Epstein files. Yeah.
That would work too. So have you been hanging out with your son lately? Because, when I went on your show, Jesus was around there.
Yeah. He hangs out on my show. Right now, he's busy leading the team on editing our news coverage today. For our YouTube channel, our new YouTube, we covered as many of the Todd Blanche clips as possible.
Nice.
And
where can we all find your YouTube so everybody knows?
At the God Show Live.
Look at that. See, I think we had it up earlier, but we can never say it enough times.
Yeah, we went up a couple months ago. We're already at 25,000.
Nice.
Which is, it's not enough. I'm God and we're awesome. We're some of the best political comedy out there, damn it. And we need more followers.
Hey guys, go subscribe to their YouTube.
Subscribers, sorry.
Yeah, it's that's not your fault. It's why we have to call it different at different places. Why can't we call it one thing?
Why you got to confuse a God?
Right. Like you got all the world's happenings on your mind, and now you got to worry about whether you call them followers or subscribers.
Seriously, shit is confusing. No cap.
Okay. So Jesus is the video editor. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he was the video carpenter. Now, because of the support we're gaining on Substack, we're able to have a couple video editors on our team. We got a young Gen Alpha person doing our shorts. They do a great job. Or I don't know what you call them. They're a young person. And then Jesus is the first millennial. He's just leading the so it's going well.
You have good age variety there. That's good.
Yeah, we do. We're which is nice to see as well. So yeah, we're number one in humor on Substack.
Are you?
Yep.
I think that
it wasn't much of a competition.
No, I don't believe that. Congratulations. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks. Well, we're number one for now.
So you're concerned that others may
you got to stay on top.
Well, here.
What if I lose?
Well, now I better put this up here and tell people. Come on, guys, go subscribe because God is sweating up a storm there. God looks
TheGodShow.com. God's leaving it. God and Jesus are leaving it all on the field.
Yeah, you look like some of those people that probably have gotten diarrhea now because of Donald Trump.
Oh, I've got a nice hat. You want to see it?
Ooh, I like it. Trump was wrong about everything. You don't even curse at him or anything in there because you're God.
I saw this going around. This is a good way to catch people's attention on feed, They're like, was that a Trump supporter? And then they tune in and you're like,
no, I'm not fucking a God.
Fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah, and look at that. God's getting the double fucking bird.
Fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, and then another thing people like is Star Wars, so you got to have a lightsaber.
Dude, you have everything. All the good toys.
Oh, thanks.
So, do you... I remember, I first noticed your existence, let's say, on Twitter. Are you still active in that hellhole?
Hell no.
Okay, hell no.
I quit that shit years ago. As soon as Elon Musk showed up with his kitchen sink, I was like, I'm outie.
Why couldn't you do something about him?
Because free will. Why couldn't you do something about him?
I can't get past all the guards he can hire with that money.
It's a brave new world. You're all too distracted with your AI memes on Instagram.
No, I would. Let's say I try to not advocate violence, so I would not have done anything violent. But I'd like to see some sort of Benny Hill type action.
You know he's going to say something messed up when he has to lead with that.
No, but I was just saying, I was going to say something messed up. I was going to say I wanted to see some kind of Benny Hill accident befall him so we could play the music.
Yeah. You know what would be really funny if it were to happen in any reality? My preferred ending to this sad charade is he accidentally trips down the steps of Bribe Force 1 and bumps his head on every step, and then it's caught from multiple angles in HD, and it's just and then you can add the Benny. It syncs up perfectly to Benny Hill. That's
what I'm saying.
It syncs up perfectly also to Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it syncs up perfectly Stranger to the Dark Side of the Moon. I don't know, but
everything syncs up.
Everything syncs. Everything congeals. Maybe
play the Led Zeppelin album.
Let's go July 19. Fingers crossed.
There you go. Yeah, I think that'd be good. I have another one that maybe you'll like, so I'm gonna try this.
Titanic ending.
Ooh, that could be good. If he's Jack, and there's space.
Don't let go, Jade.
There's space on there, but she won't let him up. She won't let Elon Musk up there.
JD Vance is Rose.
I was thinking more that he is walking, in one of his data centers, trips and gets caught, and then overheats. His skin melts, and we find out he's a Terminator, which we sort of knew, right? Because he's
dark. You're hoping for the electrocution ending.
No, yes, I mean, but the funny kind.
But also, again, on live TV, must be broadcast live.
The funny kind, where you could see a skeleton light up for a second or two. You know what I mean? It has to be a funny kind of ending.
Right. Who knows? Who knows how this will end? It's rarely as satisfying as a TV show. It's not supposed to be a TV show. No. I just think it's crazy how he subpoenaed New York Times reporters because they were trying to report on what happened to Bribe Force 1 in Turkey when it got left behind. So shouldn't there be more investigation into the thing they don't want you to investigate?
I mean, generally that's what I think. Sure.
Yeah, don't look there. What do you think happened with that? What happened with that?
Well, I don't know, but these guys always threaten that him, Trump, whatever. But these are threats. They
go to court and then they lose.
Well, or they back out because they don't want the discovery phase a lot of the time. A lot of especially if it's something to do with financial impropriety and the discovery involves getting a hold of their financials. I mean, we know how corrupt the two of them are. Right now, they opened a investigation into him for that. What would seem to be patently obvious bribery in Wisconsin when he was like, I'll pay you to register to vote.
Oh, yeah, Elon Musk. But he's, they're saying that's a crime. And it's yeah, no shit. But he's not going to face any consequence for that.
If you think sadly, the world we have inhabited for a while now.
He's got too much money.
Yes, has been one where I'm going to throw out my favorite quote because I do this. Or it's not my favorite quote. It probably might be something like, every once in a while you have to fucking make your move or whatever. The one was by Tom Cruise in Risky Business. But that wasn't the one I was going to go to.
Did you just quote Risky Business to me?
I did, man. What you laughing at me?
No, I love a risky bit. You don't understand. I have got private history with Risky Business. But
I was going to do the one where
it's inside joke to myself.
Funny, where Judge a good Supreme Court justice back in the day, Brandeis, said that we can either have vast disparities in wealth or we can have democracy. We can't have both. And he knew what he spoke of, and that's the thing. Because right now, I don't want Elon Musk having that kind of wealth anyhow, because he's an evil hireling Hitler motherfucker. But on a different note, it's bad for democracy.
I'll just let you know, I wasn't laughing at you. I happened to get Risky Business on DVD 3 separate Christmases. So
did you really?
Yeah, it's
awesome.
a big inside joke.
If you were I figured it was in fun sarcasm, and I don't.
No, yeah. I'm always laughing with you. But yeah, you got to do the thing, and it starts with us because we decide. And then the politicians, they seem to follow suit.
Yeah. And you have to sort of make it where they have to do it, and then they tend to do it. But
Yeah.
you got to get to that place. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes there are some smart politicians that LBJ, although let's ignore that whole Vietnam thing for a little while. But on the domestic side, I mean, the way you got the civil rights bill passed, like it really wasn't
Right. I watched a movie with Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, I watched that one too, and I've watched some others and read a few. Schlesinger had a great book on it, and like he went to people, and it was absolutely not in their political interest, and he just either threatened them, nice, or he used what he could to cajole them because they all needed something, and you just find a way to patch together even people that suck most of the time. If you can get them to vote right on that one thing, then I mean that's democracy. You got to do what you can to get it passed. It still helps a lot of people. Even if a bunch of assholes vote for the civil rights bill, you're still glad that you passed the civil rights bill.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, he got some Southern Democrats who were pretty shitty people, and then he went and got a whole bunch of Republicans because there were some Southern Democrats who were too shitty to even vote for it. That was a different time when all the racists were.
Now you have a president who starts a war and then makes money when the strait is open, and he makes money when the strait is closed, and you have just a level of corruption and insanity and evil greater than anything America's ever seen, and it's not even close.
I mean, I have a hard time arguing with that. I was talking to a friend the other day about sort of historical comparisons, the U.S., whatever. I mean. Like you could say, and this is being as generous as possible to Donald Trump, who's, as I said earlier, if he does anything right, when we had Ken Harbaugh on, like it's by mistake. Like he genuinely is awful at fucking everything, which is why he hates his life so much and hates everybody else. But
yeah, like a new nickname dropped yesterday, Tofu. Did you hear about that one?
I didn't. It has to be like taco. So what does
Trump
tofu
only
stand for?
fucks up.
That's excellent.
That's great,
I've been
right?
trying to. How did I not forget? Because I've been saying it forever. Like he fucks up everything
Constantly.
Everything Trump touches dies. I get that one too.
Yes,
This
everything
one
he
isn't-
touches turns to crap. Did you see the historic fountain that turned brown?
That's what I'm saying. Like I looked at various things, and it's like it's not just people he destroys. Like anything that he comes close to, he fucking wrecks because he can't. He has to try to fix it, and he fucks it up worse, or just his existence there. He smells so bad. I don't know. He messes everything up. But
And every accusation is a confession, and that's by design. Like one thing that I think is crazy is like he's going to accuse the Democrats of election interference in 2020. Even though he won in 2016 when Obama was president, and he allegedly won in 2024 when Biden was president, but he lost when he was president, and somehow that's the Democrats' fault. But he's the one who got tried and indicted, or not tried. He got indicted for election
convicted.
racketeering, but he got out of it because
that one he got
became
out of, convicted
president.
Yep.
But he's an adjudicated rapist, and he's the one who actually does this stuff. He got caught on the phone
asking for 12,000 votes.
11,780 votes. Who's going to stop you for that? And he was right, I'm afraid. No one is going to stop you for that unless you do it. And he knows that all he has to do is keep Americans fighting amongst each other. And then they'll never look at him.
But also, let's give credit where credit is due. And by that, I mean let's blame where blame is due. Our fake AI friend, Mitch McConnell, who probably somewhere is on a ventilator right now, if he had not, over the last 20 years, filibustered everything, he had not stuffed the courts and refused to put picks on there and done other things so that
but even that, the Democrats could have fought harder if there wasn't such this this idea of like decorum and conventions and norms.
I've been saying that forever.
In
fact, the most obvious minute to me, or time to toss aside any norms, decorum, respect for tradition, is when he did that with the Supreme Court seat. It was so out of bounds. They had done stuff that was out of bounds before that. Gingrich did some of that crap, and so did McConnell. But that particular one was so ridiculous.
This is the only time I want to hear norms mentioned again, is when you're watching Cheers.
Yeah,
And you
those are
say,
some good words.
Norm!
Yeah, that guy was cool, man. He could drink a beer. You know that? Did you know that he actually
drink a beer.
it was in his contract that he drank real beer on the show? I'm dead serious. Dude sat there and got
George Wendt.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was George Wendt's job, was to sit there, drink beer, and be funny. He had the best,
Awesome.
and he probably got paid very well for that. That is a job, folks.
You should drink beer on stream.
AI can't take that job away, kids.
Can't
That's
take
job.
that away from me. I can't even do my thing on camera because then YouTube will get this taken down. So we'll just imagine the gummies. But
what can't you do on camera?
No.
I'm not sure I understand.
Nope. You can't do the certain thing. Anyway,
you can't sing. You can't.
You can't smoke the weed on camera.
Oh, that thing. I'm sorry. Really?
But I can. You know what? I can eat my popcorn.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah. I
do a show where I drink tequila, and they don't take that down. I'm surprised.
Because it is. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, man, you seem like a dude who knows people. Can we call Governor Bashir's office right now?
Let's see. That would be a little strange, but
hey,
I have God on line one. I do know some of Bashir's advisors. I do not know Governor Bashir personally. I've met him because it's due south of where I am in Cincinnati, just across the bridge. But I do not know him, so I don't know if I could just pick up a phone and call him.
Right.
That probably would.
Sorry, that was just a harebrained scheme.
There's no reason to be sorry because that would be
a harebrained idea that I had.
That would be an awesome segment, man. If I could do that, I totally would.
Yeah, like what would we do in reality to apply pressure to the governor of Kentucky, or it's Kentucky, right?
It is.
To do the thing.
Well, here's what I'll tell you.
If Mitch McConnell's alive, he can come out and put out a video.
That's true. Like why hasn't he done that?
Because he's dead.
Oh, right.
Or excuse me, mostly dead.
That's right. He's mostly dead.
Princess Bride.
Yes, I was going to say, what do you do when they're mostly, when they're completely dead? All you can do is search their pockets for loose change. But when they're mostly dead, great Billy Crystal line, right?
The best.
When they're mostly dead, you used to, oh, look at Mr. Know-It-All. Oh, he's dead. Yeah, he was great in that. I was going to see if I could find the other image I have of him because I like that one better. But maybe
please take your time.
Because there's just so many great images of Mitch McConnell. Like he's out there partying now. You know what I'm saying?
Here, I'll do my Mitch McConnell impersonation.
Yeah, that's good. You can't if you're not, as long as you're not.
I blinked too many times.
Yeah, that's true. You did. But maybe that was sort of your blinking was like a code where you're asking for help. Sort of like the video one by Metallica, where you're stuck in that body and you can't really. Yeah, there you go. Let's see if you blink. Okay, that was good. For all of you folks listening by podcast who won't see this, God is not blinking.
God has the Mitch McConnell face.
But God was not blinking, and I think that's an important point to make.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell. That was 2 years ago that he glitched out on camera. So now he's smiling and putting out detailed messages. Sure. And Scott Jennings said that he talked to him. No, you didn't.
I love that. I mean, does anybody believe anything that Scott Jennings ever says?
All these mediocre men who have nothing to offer the world except the ability to protect pedophiles. And that's how they have a little house and a little car and a little ego and pretend that they're something. They're nothing.
No, they are nothing. And you know what else?
JD Vance.
You've been so good.
Blanche, Scott Jennings. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you've been so good, at like talking and keeping the crowd interested. Here, I found the other thing I wanted to find. I mean, you may have already seen it, so I hope.
No, I probably not. Okay, so if you're watching, if you're listening by podcast, it's a photo of Elaine Chao and Todd Blanche holding up Weekend at Mitch's.
Yeah,
Mitch McConnell here.
I really wish they do. Yeah, if they do a Weekend at Mitch's, like from that movie, they put him on like water skis, and he kept like crashing into like dinghies and shit like that behind.
Now I
it.
have to question: is this real?
It's as real. It looks to me as real as the one in the hospital, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was sort of my point and why I wanted to show you this because, yeah, I mean,
there's been this era is just, it sickens me in so many ways.
I know. It's sad that there's so many people that are just they're disappointing. You thought they would be better. You didn't even think they'd be great.
I'm not even disappointed in the villains. They are who I thought they were, and stupidly they've taken their masks off. And good, I always wanted them to. But I'm disappointed in the lack of fighting back.
Well, I'm disappointed.
They're literally, he fired the heads of the election commission. Like, just somebody, like, the only hope that we saw,
stand up and start screaming about it and show up and like bring the press with you and yell outside the goddamn White House.
The only fight back and call him a pedophile. The only fight back we saw so far was when the Democrats were like, okay, we're going to gerrymander our states too. But even then, they're like, we're going to put it up to a vote. And and then it gets tossed out because of that in North. So they're not really willing to do the thing to survive.
There were, I think, a few states that didn't
Virginia
put up to vote. Virginia, yes. But there were some others. Like I am very critical of when Democrats are wimpy because I can't stand them not fighting back. But I also like to give credit here and there when there are a few that do.
No, I know. So I'm saying that was the thing that gave us hope. It's just like even there, when the Republicans do it, they just do it. They don't ask the people.
And I was going to say to you earlier,
which is wrong,
right?
Of course. I'm just saying, like, man, you got to really fight back for realsies.
Well, and I would tell you, depending upon like proof of life and what else they don't supply from McConnell, I mean, like one of the reasons why Andy Bashir was elected. I mean, it helped. His dad had been governor, however many years ago. So there's some name recognition. He's also a very good retail campaigner, and he went up and met with people, even in places where Democrats don't normally go, in Appalachia, stuff like that. But I would add on top of all of that, he fought hard. Like he didn't do he fought. This is Kentucky. So they had an overwhelming advantage in the legislature, and they had an anti-trans bill, and he fought it, and he vetoed it, and whatever. So
the fact that he's making any rumblings at all is gives me hope. Do you
that's
think
what
he
I'm
might
saying,
actually do the thing? And
I do
time
actually.
runs out.
I do, and I don't just say that because in most cases, if this were Chuck Schumer, I'd be yeah, sure, but. I do. I think there is actually a chance that Andy Bashir will be the one that really.
Hell yeah, brother!
Because he's shown some spine, so I'm hoping.
That would be fantastic.
And at least there is the ability to hope with him because he's shown spine before.
Right. He's one of these like younger fighters. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Like you, a young fighter.
Oh, stop! I'm not young.
You're like 6,000 years old.
6 million. Whatever.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I was thinking on a different.
You too. Stop. You too. Are you having fun talking to God?
Yeah, it's always fun talking to God because near here. If you were, I don't know where you're from. God, I mean
heaven.
Fair, but we drive a little. Not right over the bridge into Kentucky, but a little further into Kentucky. They have the Creation Museum, so you can come join me. Did you go there? I want to write about it.
Have you been there? Have you been?
Oh my! I was, and I was really happy that because it was a piece I wrote for Esquire back when I was doing more journalism, and they let me go and do it, and they even paid for me to get in because giving my own money to that place would have been painful, but. If I had to, it was awesome. They're like dinosaurs with saddles because they were our horses in like the 19th century, and rooms that like blamed everything bad that's ever happened in the history of the world on being gay and abortion and stuff, and
Right.
and there are a lot of stuff about Jews killing Jesus, and
It's horrible.
quality
It's a
stuff.
horrible, wretched place. How is it still in existence when they lose so much money every year? That's what I don't
Because
understand.
it's the usual, right? Like there's think about the rich billionaire assholes on the right, and there's a few of them that just don't care. They just want to propagandize as many kids
How
as
come
possible.
the left doesn't have any rich billionaire pricks that are willing to bankroll stupid bullshit like that?
Yeah, I've asked that question for a long time, my friend. Trust
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I'm right here. I'm ready to be bought.
I'm a stupid prick.
Right.
I could start a stupid museum.
I could too. I am actually a complete asshole. Why would you not fund me? Like, what more do I have to do?
Yeah, where's the Democrats, Sheldon Adelson? They're always accusing you of the thing they're doing.
Well, I mean,
So that
we don't
you
want the
can't
Democrats
accuse
Sheldon
them.
Adelson because he's dead. But
Yeah. Well, Miriam, whatever. But they always accuse you of the thing that they do, so that you can't accuse them back because they're like, "That's the thing I said about you."
right. And they're like, "Oh, you're George Soros check," and I'm like, "Well, I haven't gotten."
I mean, like
I'd
it was
like
there wasn't a Rush Limbaugh said it was a vast left-wing conspiracy to control all media.
Sure. I mean, it's the kind of thing. I'm sure
That's what he was the one that led the charge for a decade, and that led to the formation of Fox News. And now you have these MAGA billionaires. They bought CBS, and now they want to buy CNN,
right.
and they want to control all media so that the average person doesn't have any connection to the truth at all. Which is why it's so important to support independent media, as scary as that is.
I know I'm pretty scary. So
it's just scary that we live in this world.
Yes,
Or that you live in this world. Believe me, I am in communication with all the other timelines, and this is the most messed up one, which is why I spend a lot of time here.
I bet you got to fix this one. Something fierce.
Yeah, I can't help but feel a little responsible.
So yeah, well, if you could help us out, that would be cool. I know you said free will, which maybe you got from the Devil's Advocate. I don't know, but because I remember, Pacino or the devil talked a lot about that free will shit. But like when you want to rest and relax, are there any clouds that are more comfortable? Like, are the cumulus ones the best ones, or are there others?
Oh, the cumulus are fantastic, bro.
Yeah, they just totally suck you in, don't they? You're just like, oh my god, it's like a waterbed or something, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
you get all that cumulus over you. I love it.
Is God going blue on me?
What are you talking about? That was in your whatever just happened. That was in your brain.
We have some blue comedy from God here, everybody. Wow.
Calm your freaky down.
Wait,
that's on your brain. The sin happened in your mind.
There are a lot of sins in my mind, God. I'm sure you know that. So let's see. What else we got before we're running up against the end of the hour? And I've almost been doing this 2 hours. It's because of my love for you and all you stand for. So right now, you've got the what do you call it? The Substack.
Yeah.
Are you writing for that, or you?
Yeah, I write the posts that go out in the morning, like "Thou shalt not confirm Todd Blanche."
There you go.
And then we record video reactions every day that we put out on our YouTube. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, Jesus and I go live at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And we just respond and talk to our audience and hang out that way. Yeah.
Well, what happens when they just make it daylight savings time all the time? Will you still go on at the same time?
Yeah. That'll make it easier.
You can't even trust them not to fuck that up.
No, they totally will.
All the scientists
this is not the first time that it's passed the House.
Right. All the scientists have said that we should be on standard time, that is actually much better in terms of people's psychology and whatever when it gets light and dark.
Sunshine, yeah.
Yeah. And these dickheads, of course, are like, no, let's do the opposite of that.
No, yeah. You can't have your Labor Day during May. That would be too in line with the rest of the world, and then socialism might take off in America, and the next thing you know, people might be forming unions and demanding fair wages. No.
No,
You got to have that at the end of the summer, so that
and you might have to give them some benefits if your machine chopped their hand off.
No. Let's just bring them some pizza. Anyway, so.
Yeah, these people suck.
I'm a commie, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Honestly, I mean, if I
Gee,
live-
well,
when I
you
listen to
know,
what your son
I
had to
wasn't. I
say-
used to be a monarchist, and then Jesus.
right.
Jesus was such a commie.
Divine right of kings. Yeah,
He got me believing in things like the library and fire department.
that was cool of you. Those are socialists at the very least.
I was like,
Social
what?
security? That's you too.
Look at these humans figuring out how to conquer toil.
Yeah. It's like you've hooked us up. All these sort of commie organizations, and you've put them together for us.
No,
I
it's just
appreciate
it's crazy. They're really trying to go after their last refuge is going to be saying the word commie and transgender mutilations of mandatory transgender mutilation over and over and over again, and just hoping that it's enough to get Americans to forget.
that. It won't be.
Or get independents to sway from the gas prices.
Yeah, independents hate them. I mean,
Good.
the things that make me most certain that they're going to have to pull something more than their usual, like as I brought up earlier, they've got Secretary of States in many places like Ohio, so they can suppress 1% to 2% of the vote through cheating and throwing out certain ballots and whatever. But
Wow.
I've already baked that in because that's what they normally do.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this election. With the way the numbers are looking, like they're going to need a lot more than that, and that's why, of course, there's everything from the Save Act to getting all the information from DHS, demanding all the information. To, I mean, they're going to need to pull something much bigger for them.
Do you think he might actually declare a state of emergency?
Yeah, I think that's possible. I wish I didn't.
What
but
percentage chance do you give that?
I give it a one. Let's say for now, because if I
Tough
haven't
question,
heard a
yeah.
lot of it, I'll give it a
Yeah.
1 in 5 chance right now.
Nice. That's a good, yeah.
But there's other things he can do.
Well, not
too.
nice. I mean, that's horrible, but I agree with your estimate.
Yeah, there's other things he can do that are along those lines too, right? I mean,
Right.
remember when the call, when Putin called in, the bombing threats. I mean,
Right. And they can deploy his ICE Proud
Correct.
Boy J6 units
they're
to
going to do
polling
that
places.
day. You can almost be sure. and that's why-
100% going to do that and try and intimidate people from voting.
Yep. So I mean, that's the thing. We have to be united. We're working with other groups right now.
Which is why they don't want mail-in voting, because then you avoid his ICE battalions.
You can't have his thugs stop you from voting.
But
now.
wait, but he votes by mail every single time.
I know, but he's also full of the largest pile of known feces on this earth. So therefore, what he does,
you know what I'm hoping for is this: what happened in Hungary. Oh, wouldn't it be great if that happened in the USA, where all their efforts to gerrymander turned into dummy mandering? Do you know?
Well,
have you heard this term?
yeah, and it
I
could
know
be.
you have.
Well, and it could be because of we already brought up the independents. We didn't bring up that they have had the worst transformation. I'm trying to think of the right way to put it. The worst loss among Latino voters that I have ever seen before.
Yeah, did something happen? Did he do something? To
I think he
the
may have
Latinos?
deported a few people or some shit.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But like of the Latino folks that voted for him, not all Latino folks. So start off with the majority that didn't vote for him. He got a higher percent than normal, but he still
Right.
lost a majority. Well, now we're talking about that. Just among the percent that voted for him, he was down 46 points or something like that, which means he would
Holy
lose
crap.
half of those who voted for him.
Yeah, Harry Anton is so popular right now because
Yep.
it's not looking good, but man, you don't count your chickens before they're hatched either.
No, of course. I'm just talking about. I can listen. I've always said to people like I can't sit here and like predict what authoritarianism is going to happen.
Right.
That's not my area of expertise. So I always make sure to say I look at lots of different polling numbers. I look at anecdotal evidence. I look at state histories and district histories. I look at how good the candidates are. That matters a lot more than people realize often, and that kind of stuff. But I also say, like, I mean, I can't account for if ICE comes in and shuts a place down. Like, I can't do an analysis of Well,
Yeah,
what's gonna? I mean, then we're either gonna fucking fight back and not let that happen. The people there are gonna say "fuck you" and are going to fight back, or
exactly. I just to my response to that is exactly so much of the last 10 years has been, can you believe what Trump said? Can you believe what they did? And it just reminds me as time goes on, like, who cares what he does? What are you going to do?
yeah. Well, I know it. I mean,
what do you
that's why
believe?
we're working with an organization, you may know it,
Well, not
defiance.org.
you personally. It was more of a
No, but we are. I mean, that's one way is to feel better. We're working with defiance.org, who we've encouraged people to go and subscribe to, because you can get 3 free months if you go as a Blue Amp subscriber. And they, Miles Taylor, who runs it, who Trump has called a traitor and tried to prosecute. They are actually organizing local DAs and others, which is what we need, because if you interfere in an election, you are breaking local or state
Right.
law, and your little federal badge does not protect you. And a few of them, like Krasner in Philadelphia and others, have already come out and said, if you do that, I'm arresting you.
Yeah, I've
We
seen
need-
Ossoff say that too. Like, if
We need as
and
many of them
others,
as possible.
like,
Ready.
when we have power, we're going to prosecute you if you do this thing.
Right. But we also do have power because so many state, like local area
Right,
and cities
no matter
are
what.
Democratic. We need those prosecutors to arrest every ICE member that shows up and tries to shut the stuff down. And they're organizing that. So we're working with them on that initiative. So we're doing what we can.
Cool.
Me personally, I mean, I don't know how else to say this. Like, I will not commit an act of violence, but I will tell you, they will have to arrest me to stop me from voting. I go to the voting booth. I don't want to vote by mail because I want to be there and I want to vote and, go through the process. And and I'm going to do it. And if they try to stop me from doing it, and I have my ID and my whatever, and I'm allowed, they're going to have to throw me into a truck and take me to prison, because fuck them. That's my right as an American, and I'm not giving that up. So
Damn right. There are some lines that they cross that you just don't cross, and everybody agrees. Can hold hands and be like, yeah, that's too far.
no, yeah, I'm sorry. That is our birthright.
It
So
was. I
fuck
was
them.
just. It's a philosophical thing when you get to these moments. It reminds me of this. I'll close out with this famous moment from, we all saw it, right? Lord of the Rings, Fellowship. Frodo wishes he had never received the ring.
Yeah.
And Gandalf, what does he say to him? So do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. And how will you be remembered? It's
You're right. I mean, look, this is that time, and I think you said you'll close with that. I'll close with this. Like, if you ever ask yourself that question, because I did many times myself, what would I have done in the 1930s if I had been in
Right.
Germany? And the answer is, you're doing it right now. That I always thought I would fight, and that is why, in every way I know how. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying I always do it right, and I'm not saying, but I will always be willing to, because you either fight, or what are we here for? And if you have,
well, you're not alone. First things first, right?
Yep. No,
And the
not at all.
polls show that. Thank goodness.
That's right. There are a lot of people feeling exactly the same way, who I suspect, if they try to shut down the polling place where I am, there will be a lot of people dragged off to prison with me. So,
Yay, prison!
prison, I hear it's cool. I'll get like a tattoo. I'll join a gang.
I hope I get a cell next to you. We can talk all day.
That's right. We'll hang out and talk. But in the meantime, God, you're awesome. Thank you for being here.
Bless you, sir.
Go to the God Show. It's right there. You see, and you can
Godshow.com. We got the .com.
Go there too, and you can sign up for the YouTube. And I will be joining God. I don't know when yet, but I'll be on one of their shows, and we'll have a lot of fun there too, just like we just did. This is a nice, cool catharsis and funny and enjoyable. Like, not that I don't enjoy the serious conversations, but it was an awesome conversation with Ken Harbaugh, who I want to thank for coming on to tell us about what's going on in Ukraine and how the women of Ukraine are tricking Russian soldiers into giving away their positions and then blowing them up.
That's awesome.
It's so cool. And you for coming on and allowing us to make fun of Trump and laugh a bit and go more happily into that good night, if you will, tonight.
Amen. Bless you, sir.
Hey, thanks for being here. And I'll do my usual sign off. What the hell? Folks, as the sun sets slowly in the west, we bid you a fond farewell. Thank you for being here. See you soon. And maybe I can click on